We are living in the era of rosé. You see rosé everywhere. You see rosé hashtags, rosé all day, rosé this, rosé that. Here are 10 things that you may not know about rosé, but are actually kind of cool. So there are basically 4 ways of making rosé. The basic way is maceration. You take grapes, usually red grapes, you leave it on its skins in the winemaking process for a little while, but not so much that it turns into a red wine. Then you get rid of the skins, and you've got this beautiful pale pink rosé wine. The second way is actually more of a byproduct from red wine making. As you're waiting for the wine to turn darker and darker and darker, you bleed off from the tank. It's called saigner. It actually means blood in French. It's actually meant as a process to intensify the color of the red wine, but at the same time it gives you this nice pink wine that you can use to make money with while you wait for your red wine to age. There's an obscure category of rosé called Ramato. It's basically, if you take Pinot Grigio grapes, for instance, they are kind of rose in color. So when you make a wine from them using the skins, you actually get a kind of vaguely orangey, pale pink wine. Finally, and this is usually a kind of cheaper method, there's blending. You just take red wine and white wine and you blend them together and you get pink. So that brings us to color. The thing about rosé, of course, is that you have rosés that are like this, and you have rosés that are like this. This one is kind of your classic Provençal rosé, just this pale, pale pink, almost a little bit orangey. This, from Everly in California, is this vivid pink, you know, in-your-face crazy town pink color. Here's the thing. A lot of people think that darker rosés are sweeter. That's not true. It's all about how much extraction you're getting from the skins. They'll sometimes have a little bit more robust flavor because you're pulling out more of the anthocyanins and polyphenols from the skins. But basically, darker rosé does not mean sweeter. Then there's dry rosé versus white Zinfandel. White Zinfandel was invented in the late 70s. Perhaps you know it from your grandmother drinking it. It is a little bit sweet, a little bit soda poppy. Do not confuse white Zinfandel with your dry Provençal style rosé. You will be disappointed because it is typically sweet. So there's this thing about rosé. We love to drink it during the summer. You see pictures of people on boats, pictures of people on the beach, pictures of people in the blazing sun roasting themselves and drinking rosé. The thing is, you do not have to drink rosé just during the summer. I personally think rosé in the winter is great. I mean, why not? You know, don't be tied to the summer. Break your bonds. Get out of the summer. I mean, if you're in the summer, drink rosé, but you know, if you don't want to, don't. When did this crazy rosé boom start? I personally blame the Hamptons in 2006. All the kind of fashionable Hamptonites, the movie stars, the millionaires, started drinking dry rosé, particularly a brand called Domaine Ott. And it just became the wave of the summer. And from the Hamptons, it spread to Miami, it spread to, you know, LA. And now, of course, it's insanely popular and everybody's drinking it, not just movie stars. Okay, France, which is effectively the homeland of rosé, drinks a lot of rosé. They drink more rosé than they drink white wine, which is kind of mind-blowing right there. In 2015, they drank 176 million gallons of rosé, and that's 4 years ago. It's gone up since then. It's basically 1 bottle of wine out of every 3 that's sold in France is rosé. So the French love to drink rosé, and within France, Provence is really the land of rosé. The Greeks brought vines to Provence about 2,600 years ago. They happened to be the right climate, the right vines. They've been making rosé for hundreds of years, and in fact, a vast percentage of the wine production in Provence is rosé. And the style of wine from Provence, this kind of pale, you know, beautiful pale colored rosé, that's what's become the dominant idea of what rosé should be. So here's a funny thing. In Provence, if you're, you know, lounging at the club by the pool or whatever, and you ask for rosé à la piscine, and piscine means swimming pool, what you will get is rosé served in a huge glass like this, over a huge amount of ice, and you'll be able to lounge by the water with your ridiculous rosé on ice. Whispering Angel is probably the most recognizable name in rosé right now. I think it's kind of cool. The name actually comes from 2 cherubs that are in the chapel that's on the Chateau d'Esclandes property that Sacha Lachine, Whispering Angel's founder, owns. He was touring a friend through the chapel one day when he was still trying to figure out what to name this wine he was planning to make. And the friend saw these 2 cherubs and said, "That's funny. Looks like they're whispering." You know, it's kind of an odd name for a wine. Obviously, the man's marketing instincts were brilliant because it sold bazillions of bottles. So people tend to think of rosé as this inexpensive, sort of cheap and cheerful, you know, drink it by the beach, whatever wine. But at the same time, there's a growing market for high-end rosé of various kinds. First, you've got the giant bottle. People love big bottles of rosé. It's great for parties. People are excited by them. And then you've got high-end rosé, which kind of comes in a couple of different modes. The Whispering Angel folks, for instance, have Garros, their super high-end rosé, which runs $100 a bottle. You also have classic rosés in a very old-school style from kind of culty sommelier fanatic, followed after producers like Lopez de Heredia. Their Viña Tondonia rosé you'll almost never find in the store because sommeliers snatch it up like instantly to sell it in their restaurants. So people think of rosé as this trendy wine that's become super popular in the last couple of years. The truth is there's hundreds of years of history to it. It's a classic style of wine. And those 10 things that we've gone through in this video are all pretty cool. They're little tidbits of information about this wine that suddenly everybody has rediscovered.